Hi guys, welcome to part 8 of Stevie GTR's Anything Garage project. It's the Hemingway Kits large bore steady rest. It's time to do some work on the milling machine now, or with the milling machine, to machine the bases for the bed of the Myford. So the first thing I've got to do is work out how to cut this square, so be careful how I do this to get the sides right, and get that milled, and then I've got to get the bandsaw out and cut a chunk of this steel off that was supplied for the guide underneath, which you've all seen in the previous part what I'd mentioned, and then cut the little block and drill and tap it. This does actually, the piece for the guide, once it's all set and measured, is drilled and tapped with 2 fixings, which must be what the fixings that are supplied for with it. I think you countersink them in 2 Allen screws. So there's that to do, and then of course we're going to do this, which is to mill the bottom, mill this machining marks out of here, the casting marks, which are the numbers 2590/1, and that is 2590/2, so obviously one of 2. To do this, obviously this thing's got to be completely stripped down now, so that's my next thing. Is I'm going to gut it completely back to a bare frame, and then I'll probably bring you back when we get over onto the milling table. Well, I've been studying this for a while, and I'm sure some of you are going to start screaming at me, but no side is square to any other side. The most important thing is that the base is flat and square to this face here, which is what bolts to the framework and then down onto the bed, and that is reasonably flat. But the worst that I can find is this edge here, because that isn't badly out of square and that isn't badly out of square, although it is slightly, but that is absolutely miles out of square. I don't know if I can show it, but it's a long way. You can see, like there, absolutely miles out of square. So my plan is, rightly or wrongly, as I say, you're going to be screaming at me, is to mount it like that, and use a cutter something like this, and take a skim off there until it's flat, but it'll only be flat within reference to that. So then all I can do then is skip it over and machine that, and all I know is that that and that will be parallel. Now whether they're going to be out of parallel as in at an angle, I don't know, but assuming they're going to be something like correct, then I can then grip on that and do the sides like this. I've studied it for long enough and I'm getting nowhere, so I think that's where we're going to go with it. So I've got to somehow work all that in there. On this side were the highest. Lock that, which is the Y. Take a run all the way across just in case there's any high spots. There isn't. Okay, I've swapped out the milling cutter and put this 246 head face cutter in. See if I get any better results with that. Yeah, quite a nice finish that. No guarantee, is there, that that's going to be square on. Let's see what it feels like. No, that's canting over. Is that? Right, I'll come back again when I've worked out how to hold that. I will explain how, but it might take me a minute or two. I'm going to have a smoke as well. Well, I'm going to have a go with a bit of aluminium welding wire. So now that and that must be parallel, which means I can grip it like that. And I guess best thing to do would be to grip it like that and do this base first. That should be ready to machine. Which is going to have to be done in 2 passes, I guess. Unless I put a bigger cutter in. That'll do it. The big bad boy. I'll move camera back so you can actually see what I'm doing here, because people see people swapping out parts on a milling machine but I never actually see what they're doing up there. I can get it back far enough. I'll edit this. See if you can see that. Right, so I've just slackened that screw. Only by a little bit, so there's just a little gap. Tap with a copper hammer. And it's dropped out, basically. That's the drawbar. A piece of M10, I believe, it might be M12. Put that one in. How tight do you tighten it? Not tight at all, because it's on an MT2 taper, so you don't have to tighten them tight, because they're gripping the taper all the way around. So Oops, it's turning. Right, get this. Right, that's nipped. Just, that's all it takes. Right guys, lift that up so I can see as well. So that's with this. I think that's the Widex, that one. Very, very expensive cutter. I got second hand in a batch of stuff I bought. Got that and that other one that you saw. Absolute bargain. I bought a stack of cutters off a guy and he threw them in. And I like to do buy some arbors, which are just Chinese ones. Lovely, lovely. And that's got some nice cutting edges in some nice cutters. And it makes a lovely job. Well pleased. You see a few sketch lines there, look. You see that? A few little witness marks, and you can see that there's scallops one way and scallops other, which means the machine's trammed properly. That's how you tell if you've got your tram right. Right. So that's a one edge cut, two edges, three edges. I don't need to do these because they don't do anything. What I do need to do though is put that flat now on some parallels and machine this washer area, which I'm probably going to have to put that other milling cutter back in. So I'll get swapped out. Battery's just about flat again. Don't last 2 minutes. It's a beautiful camera. Fantastic resolution. I'm only running it in 1080. I can do it in 4K if I want, but in 1080 it's stunning. But the blooming battery, I've got 3 little batteries for it and it doesn't last 2 minutes. You don't get long at all. Put a couple of scratches in it, but it's done. Give it a fluff over. So I've clamped the framework down to the bed, and all I want to do is take a light skim off top of here. There's a casting number and a casting block which all needs to be milled off because the that unit has to go on there like that, like a so. So we need to machine that off. If you can see that, knock that light off, would it be better? So we're showing 15 degrees, or 0.15 of a degree, and on there we're showing 0 to 0.05. So we want that to be 0.5. I've got a pair of parallels sat on here. Turn this over. So I've got a pair of parallels sat on here. We need to zoom out a little bit so I can show it more. So that's a 3 thou feeler gauge. We'll try that. And that's got us now 10.1. So it needs to be thicker than that. 5.05, 0 to 0.05, 0 to 0.05. That's it. So it's 10 thou feeler gauge in there. I wanted to get it level as that so that when I machine it, it's right. So we've got that square on there. No daylight showing through, or LED light should I say. We've got 10 thou feeler gauge under there. We've got a clamp on there. I tried clamping it up here and it wasn't successful. It would try to tilt it over. So I've got a pair of parallels under there. Can we see all that? Yeah, pair of parallels under there. I've got a box full of parallels. For the life of me, I can't remember where I got them all from. Bought them from somewhere. They're not machinist. They are machinist parallels, but they're not precision parallels. But if you put mics on them, they all mic up okay. 10 thou feeler gauge under this end, as you saw me do, and I've clamped it tight. Obviously, we're only passing this way, so we're not going to put any side loads on it. So I'm hoping it's going to hold okay. It feels quite stable. 3.86 machined off the bottom of it. And that's been machined clean. I made sure everything was squared up, so now we're going to be able to put it there. That's how it goes. Right, so this is the piece of bar stock mild steel for the bedway on the Myford. I need to cut a slice off it. I've got the bandsaw out ready, but it's miles out of square at the ends. Obviously, wherever they get the steel stock cut from, they're quite a long way out, so the ends are miles out. So I'm just trimming this end up to get it square. Right, that's the little block made, and that has to fit in there like so. We've got 5 thou clearance on that, so that's great. Next is the other part of the block that goes underneath. Right, so this is a little block that goes underneath the bed of the lathe. So I don't know if you can see how I've marked it. So we've got a 1/4 of an inch there, and a mark there which was 17 point something from the back, and then we've got to come down from that mark down to nothing there, so it's going to be a chamfer. And basically you're going to have that. Right, that's set up, ready for milling the head off that. Put my ciggy down. Now if you can see it, but so that and that are level. How I did it, I haven't got all, well I have actually, I've got that little thing that I bought. But what I did was I just sat that on there and levelled it up. So all I need to do is mill that on that line. That's it. Yep, we're down to our line. So let's deburr that and then turn it over and do the other side. If you can see it now, what's what. Oh, I've marked this one up already. That one's 8mm clearance, so 8.2mm, and these two here, 4.6 countersunk. Just did it. Right, so that's loosely bolted up. You see the shoulder I was telling you about, that's on there. What I need to do now is square this up. Five mil for M6 tap. So that's complete. All done. What's next? Is that. Sorry, wrong way. Put that back in there. Next thing, that goes that way. That needs stitching onto that. Hopefully, let's see what happens. Right, so that's no good. Right, okay, that's done. So there we go. So now it's a case of strip it all down and paint it, rub it down, get some of these casting marks out, maybe a little bit of filing and a little bit of filler to go in back of that. I did have a suggestion of using a brass strip, but I couldn't put one in the front because the gap at the front is closed right up. I'd have had to mill some out to put one in there. So it's going to be filler, but I'm hoping it's, you know, you won't know when it's done. I think there's a right little bit come off that face there.